My name is Njambi, aka the Conscious Life Coach, and I help people improve their personal and professional lives. I'm a certified life coach, and when I was going through my life coaching training, I found out that most of the challenges that we have, either in our personal relationships or in our professional lives, is very closely related to emotions and how we handle those emotions. So I went ahead and did some training in emotional intelligence. So I also dabble as an emotional intelligence coach, which I do as a corporate trainer. So I'm a life coach, a corporate trainer, and I'm also an author of a self-awareness workbook. I was born and bred in Nairobi. We are 5 of us. I'm the third born in a family of 5. I have a big brother, a big sister, then I'm the third born, then I have 2 twin brothers. We grew up in Satellite in Nairobi, in Dagoretti constituency. And I remember going to school. The school is called Riruta HGM Primary School. It's very close to Precious Blood. And I remember when I was passing Precious Blood back then, my hope, my dreams were, because Precious Blood was doing so very well. Precious Blood Riruta. It was doing so well at that time. So I'll always pass there and go like, one day I'll go to that school. One day I'll go to that school. So when I did my KCPE, unfortunately, I just missed the points by 3 points. And I remember, my God, I was so disappointed. I was so disappointed, and I was called to Pangani. Little did I know that is exactly where I was supposed to be. You know, we get disappointed because we want things to go our way, not knowing that, you know, where we are being led is exactly where we're supposed to be heading. So I remember, you know, us guys I remember getting so excited, buying school uniform, and we had been asked to go with a sports, one thing to play with. And I wanted to do tennis. The reason I wanted to do it to play tennis, it's because I thought it's so classy. But coming from my background, we were not rich, we were not poor, we were just there. And my parents didn't have, that time I think a tennis racket was 3 times the cost of a hockey stick. So of course my parents were like, unachukua hii because it's the cheapest. It's the cheapest item on the list. And I remember I was not excited about that at all. Lo and behold, I joined the hockey team, and I happened to love it, and I was very good at hockey. In fact, when I look back, sports has been a very big part of my life. Another thing I remember about high school is I used to be given 100 bob for pocket money, and that 100 bob was supposed to sustain me until midterm, and that included my bus fare. So what would happen was, of course, I wanted to also, you know, enjoy the mandazis and the bajias, but I didn't have money. I had been given little money. So, I mean, I had to think out of the box. So I remember what I did is back to sports and athletics. Nilikuwa na nguvu. So what I would do is my classmates would pay me to go to the tuck shop for them. Why? Because they were sure that Alice akienda canteen, lazima atarudi na hizo vitu. So what happened is, it became my business. And that's how I can say that was actually it was my second business. My first business was in primary when I was selling wrestling pictures to my classmates. Now this was the second time I was trying my hand in business. Of course I didn't know at that point. All I knew is I don't have money, but I have the ability to push and shove in the canteen. So how can I make it work for me? So what would happen, I would go to the canteen and then I'd get paid for it. Now, this was first term, first form. I ended up going home and my parents, my siblings were shocked because nilikani kama just a balloon that had been inflamed with so much air. Yani nilikuwa tu nimefura because of eating. Because what would happen is if someone sent me for 2 sausages and they'd have to buy me 2 sausages, I'd end up eating 2 sausages. So if 20 people sent me, that meant that I'd end up eating 20 sausages. You can imagine doing that every day for a whole term. I went home and my folks, my siblings couldn't recognize me. Then I remember sitting and thinking, wait a minute, they're giving me money. So I really don't have to eat 20 sausages, 20 mandazis, 20 bajias in one day. I can save that money. So that is when I went back now the next time, and now the whole 4 years, they would send me, then I would actually end up saving money. I got to a point where I even stopped asking for pocket money from home because I was making enough money. Another thing that I remember in high school was, nilikuwa napenda kuongea. Okay, I was a noise maker. Let's just say I could project my voice. So if someone has lost something and it's in the hall, people would pay me in terms of either sugar or biscuits and tell me, by then nimepoteza sweta yangu, please announce. So I think when I look back, it's just it was just looking at, so what do I have now that can help me get what I want? So that is that was Pangani. Then from Pangani, I went to University of Nairobi, and I kind of like had the same idea, because I went there and then I discovered, or I noticed that my friends kept on asking me, so uko na jeans poas, ulinunua wapi? You have a nice blouse, ulinunua wapi? And it hit me, Allah, this is another way of making money. So what I do is like twice a week, ama nikienda home on Fridays, I'd usually go to Kawangware market, naenda natafuta mtush, and I don't know, get different blouses, different jeans. I remember I used to get blouses for 20 bob. I go sell them for 100 bob. I get jeans for 70 bob. I sell them for 300. Sizo sijafua. You know, there's nothing I have done. Sija iron. I just picked from the market and just connected the product to the person who wants. So what happened is I still have this amazing group of friends that we were in campus with, and we were so motivated. We kept on thinking we want to look for jobs. So what would happen is, before we even finished campus, we'd walk around with foolscaps, envelopes, and what is it called, staplers. So we'd pass by a building. If you see a company, you sit, you take your paper and pen, you write your application, and then you hand it there. So you don't know anyone, but in our heads, as guys, we knew we were job hunting. So one of these days, I'm in the hall. Then a colleague comes in, and I tell her, okay, by the way, I'm going to this place that I saw. There was a position in the paper, so we are going to head there to place our resumes. And she was like, by the way, it sounds like a nice idea, but sina paper, I haven't done. I was like, don't worry, I have like we used to work with that. I have this, I'll give you write, then we go together. Then I remember she told me at that point, okay, even for me, I was actually going to Standard Group to give this there's this thing that they have asked, this job they have they've put out there, and I was going to apply. So even you, si uko na mapepa na nini, uko na full scope, uko na what? Yes, even you apply. I'm like, what position is this? Then they tell me, I've never even heard of such a position. But she encouraged me. She's like, where apply to? Sata mini may apply. To apply to, then we can go and post in both places. So that's what we did. Then I remember that time we hadn't graduated yet. That was around, I think October. We were graduating in December. So about 2 weeks later, I get a call. And I never actually got a call from where I was going, but I got a call from where this lady was now taking her papers to. This is standard. This is a position that I have no clue ata ni nini wameitisha nini, because I was not aware. So I'm called and I'm thinking, okay, I need to find out what position this is, what they require, the qualifications and all that. What happens is I'm called. I happened to look at the qualifications, and they had asked for someone with 3 years experience. And of course, I mean, at experience here, one day sina. So for me, I was like, okay, clearly I'm not gonna get this job. So there's no need to panic. There's no need to, let me just prepare myself and walk in like as if I'm going for, how do I put it? It's an exercise for future interviews. Ndo nikiitwa in future. You know, nitakuwa na experience. So I remember walking in, seeing a group of 7 people, and I didn't panic at all. Why? Because I knew, you know, this is just practice. Apa kuna kitu. So I didn't panic at all. There was no fear. And I just answered the questions the way I was very honest. They asked me, so have you done this before? And I was like, no. And we had a very easy conversation. Then, and I think what they picked out from that conversation is because I was doing so much then. I was in school. I was at Strathmore doing my accounts. I was part of some organization for student volunteers. And I was also the captain for our handball team in the university. So I think for them, they saw this person might not be having the experience, but if they can be able to do all this, then they are probably teachable. So that's how I got my first job. And from there, I stayed for about 6 months, and then I moved to Citizen. That was, this is 2005. I moved to Citizen in 2006. Then I stayed there until 2015, where I felt the desire to start to get into business. And I remember getting so scared. You know, it's one thing when you're in this company where it's well known, you know, everything is going well. And it's another thing to move into an unknown territory. And I remember the first time I shared with my parents about wanting to resign and get into business, they're so shocked. They're like, as in, who leaves a stable company to go try out things? And I remember telling them, you know what, I feel, my intuition tells me this is the right way. I've gotten to a point in this particular company that I've reached the ceiling. I don't feel like there is space for growth. And I can tell, for me, this is where my growth will come from. So the year is 2017, and for me it was such an impactful year. Why? Because that's when I started my self-awareness journey. And quite unfortunate, it did not start out of a good thing, but it actually started from the result of my marriage ending, because things were really bad at home. It had to get to a point where, for his own sake and for my own sake, and for the children's sake as well, we had to separate. So I remember that point, I was so bitter. I was so angry. I was angry at God. I was angry at myself. I was angry at Jesus. I was angry at the government. I was angry at, I don't know, the world economy. I was angry at everything. And I remember one day sitting and asking myself, okay, fine, you're angry at him, you're angry at God, you're angry at everyone, but how is this really helping? You know, like, how about nijirudie mi mwenyewe, nijulize, you know what, clearly this person was not in this relationship by themselves. So how did you show up? You know, what role did you play in it? Through either thinking or not thinking, doing or not doing, what actions, or, you know, lack of actions. And for me, that is where my self-awareness journey started. And to even think, okay, fine, this is where I am. I'm not happy with where I am, but where do I want to be? How does that look like? And what does it require of me? And it hit me right there and then. I had to look, you know, I had to do a lot of self-reflection and just go deep and ask myself, you know, those kind of questions that we normally run from. And this happened, and I started sharing with my friends. Then come 2020, another very formative year for me, this is the year that I actually switched careers, but I didn't know. Between 2017 and 2020, I was just feeling like I need to, when I was doing this process for myself, I just knew running this marketing business is not, it's not giving me satisfaction. Yes, it's helping me to pay the bills, but sina passion. I'm not excited about it. I'm just here because yeah, I need to pay the bills. But I didn't know where to go, what to do. I wanted to connect with my purpose, but I didn't know what my purpose was. So come 2020 and COVID happens. Then I keep on saying COVID was a curse and a blessing for me at the same time. A curse because COVID was the point that broke me down. And how it did this is we had a whole line of clients for the marketing company. Then when COVID comes in, the last thing the clients want to invest in is advertising. You know, it's marketing. Everyone just had to hold on to their budgets because people didn't know what would happen. This is a strange phenomenon never heard of before. So the last thing you want to do is spend extra money. So just all the clients pulled out. All the clients pulled out, and it was at a point where we had no money. So for that, all the clients pull out. I have absolutely nothing, zero. As in, you can imagine there's so much money a project coming in. Then you move from here to there's nothing, you have no money, no one owes you any money, there's no money coming in. Moving from Alice, you're the type of a person who people are coming to you for assistance, asking for money, and now you can't even feed yourself. You can't even feed your family. You can't, for me, it was my lowest point. My lowest point in terms of brokenness, in terms of, because I was still reeling from and learning from my divorce. So there's that brokenness bit, and then being broke. Believe you me, being broke and brokenness is not a good combination to have at the same time. And then for me, it was such a good place to be at, where there's nothing, I literally have nothing. So I'm building from scratch. So I can decide to build this that I'm passionate about, that I'm finding joy sharing my experiences, or I can go back to marketing. We don't have any clients, start from scratch. I chose this because I was passionate about it. The only thing is I didn't know how to start, I didn't know where to go. And so what I did, I found some amazing friends online. Amazing how God just aligns you with the right people. And they were also in a position where they were transitioning in their lives. So we went and formed a WhatsApp group, and they really helped me just, formulate my ideas, where I want to head, what I want to do. Because I remember they're the ones who shared, if you want to do this, then do you really want to do this as a career? Like, yes, I want to make a switch. So if you want to make a switch and you want to do coaching and training, then you had better have the right training for it. And I was like, okay, training what wanafanyaga wapi? And they shared, this is where you can do, this is where. And for me, that is how I switched careers. Sometimes I look back and I say, God is so amazing that I was able to switch careers in the middle of a pandemic and right at middle age. Because most of the time we usually think, but I'm past this age, but I don't know anything about, I want to be a great cook, but I don't know much. Or nimezeeka, or I'm past, or I don't have the skills, it's just amazing when you're divinely guided and you believe in yourself and you know that this is the right idea, this is the right direction to head. It's amazing. I keep on saying, if you know what you want and you believe in yourself, the universe will conspire to just bring the right people and make everything happen for you. Success for me means liking what you do and doing what you like. So if I can wake up every morning and be excited, be excited about my day, be excited about what I am doing. I am very passionate about coaching. I'm very passionate about the mental health space because from my own personal experiences, I've come to realize that, how we think, how we feel affects the choices that we make and the decisions that we take. And here's the thing, most of us are not aware. We are very unconscious. We live our lives on autopilot. We are not aware of how am I showing up in my relationships? How am I showing up at work? How is it affecting my performance at work? How is my showing up affecting my relationships? Most of the time we usually say, but this is a change. Si watoto a change. Si mwalimu a change. We never ask ourselves, how do I change? And that is the space where I'm at. And in fact, most of my coaching And my clients can share, we never talk about the other person. We never talk about the boss. We never talk about the partner. We never talk about the children, because it's very hard to change other people, but you can change yourself. So how do you adapt? How do you change your thinking? How do you manage your emotions to be in this situation where you're creating more peace for yourself, where you're creating more success, where you're creating more happiness for yourself? So this is a space where, how do I put this? My passion. It's my passion to inspire people to live consciously, to be more intentional about the lives that, that they want to live, to be more intentional about the impact. I love saying this. Every time you meet someone, either online or physically, you have the power. You have the power to either influence or be influenced, to help or be helped, to impact or be impacted. So question is, are you intentional? Most of the time, we usually get to a point where we are saying, kuliendaje jana? Na mbona nime, mbona things are like this, mbona things are like this. Why? Because we never took time to reflect and ask, what can I do? What role am I playing? And that is, if there's one thing I can do until, my goodness, I'm 6 feet under, is to just spread this gospel of conscious living. Let's just make intentional choices. Let's understand how our choices are impacting, our future decisions. So the choice I'm making now, how will it impact me 5 years from now, 2 years from now? Will it be important? If it will be important, then I need to consider it. If it's not important, then do I really need to say this thing? Do I really need to do this thing? How will it impact my choices and my decisions and my life? So it's all about conscious living. One thing I can add, it's very important to have mentors and coaches around you. I have people who, have helped me and helped me shape my ideas, given me very, oh my goodness, very precious advice that has shaped who I am. I also have virtual mentors. I just went online and looked who are the life coaches, who are, the guys who are doing so well in this field. And I just followed them. And the thing is, I am learning from them, even if they do not know that I exist. They're guys who I have learned from. And let me also mention the importance of a coach. I have a coach as well. And we sit with my coach and we work on a monthly basis. What is it that you want to build in your business? What about in your relationships? I don't know, what is it that you're probably having a challenge with right now? What are the obstacles you're facing? So what suggestions or what strategies can you come up with? Not the coach, but myself. And then what my coach does is she holds me accountable and walks with me in this journey. My advice, to all the ladies watching this and wondering, Naeza, I'd say believe in yourself. Most of the time, you're the one with the vision and other people will not understand you. In fact, people think you're crazy when you tell them this is the idea I have. But that is the time that you really need to believe in yourself. Then I believe in the power of prayer as well. Just spiritual nourishment is so important. When you believe in yourself and you ask for divine help, and then be consistent, show up every day. Sometimes we show up and, you open a shop and no one comes. So utafunga duka? No, you will pray and ask God, what, give me the right clients, bless the people who are going to come in. And then even without knowing that whether they'll come in or not, have faith. Fungua your duka. Kesho fungua. Tell people about it. So what am I saying? Consistency. Show up every day and things will work out for you. You can find me on, I'm very active on social media. And I go by what are my names? Alice, the Conscious Life Coach. Then you can also reach me on consciouslifetoday.com. And the WhatsApp line 0757 688 I'm always happy to connect with people.